is David Cuff. Basically, there's three things that I want you to know about me: is I'm a giver, I'm a friend, and I do have a successful career now, and I'm actually on my fifth successful career. And so I'm 60 years old. I started Local View roughly 10 years ago. And so that's who I am. And I'm married to Sharon for 40 years. I got 7 grandkids, and I live on Whidbey Island. And so that's who I am. All right. How did I get started? A little over 9 years ago, I started building websites. And I quickly realized that an online business card was helpful for companies that looked nice, it functioned well, but getting that website in front of people who were looking for my clients was basically critical to their success and mine. So I developed repeatable strategies to grow their business with regards to digital exposure, or what we would call digital marketing. And so what I want to do today is I want to take you through some of those repeatable strategies and explain them to you so that you understand them and you can implement them. I also want to tell you about one of my first clients. He's a local fish breeder in Florida, and I found him because I'm a fish hobbyist. I love tropical fish, planted tanks, aquascapes and all of that. And so he's a discus fish breeder, and I found him. And when I first met him, and, I said, hey, your website could use some help. And, and so it took a while, but I convinced him to allow me to be his main marketing company. When I started with him 9 years ago, he had about 30 visits a day on his website. He had a Facebook following of about 3,500. He had an email list of about 500 names, and he was doing all of his sales by phone because he didn't have an e-commerce solution on his website. And so over 9 years, been working with him, built him an e-commerce website. We have over 500 products on his website. We have e-commerce. We have, an enhanced Instagram, and so make a long story short, he now has 1,200 plus visits a day on average. He has a Facebook following of over 27,000. He has an Instagram following of about 19,000, about 19.3. And we have an average sales of about 50 to 60,000 per month on his e-commerce site. And so he's known pretty much now as the Costco of discus fish. And it's Jack Watley Discus and my client there, Gabe Posada. And so the point is that the website was really, the central focus, but all of these other, platforms were essential to the overall, what we call multi-channel marketing. And so I'll go over some of that and talk about that as we go forward. But it's just one of our, and by the way, he's still my client today. I'm flying out tomorrow to go visit him, as well as another client in the area in Florida tomorrow. And so that's Watley Discus. And you can go to watleydiscus.com and check it out anytime you like. And all right, so what I want to talk about is these repeatable strategies. And they're in 3 focused areas along what we call the customer journey. The customer journey is really put out in many different publications, and I'm not going to go into like complete detail there, but for the most part, there's this awareness phase, and then findability, and then your reputation, then there's the conversion, and then obviously advocacy. And so as I see it, really you need to focus from the conversion standpoint. If that conversion process is going super well, then even if someone stumbles into your organization, your sales process and how all that works is so refined that you don't miss any of those opportunities, because that's pretty critical. Now, as we zoom out, if you will, we have your reputation and advocacy, and then findability, and then finally awareness. Awareness is kind of the the big picture, and we're going to talk about that as we go. And so the first thing here in the customer journey is this awareness, right? We would call this, brand awareness or brand marketing, right? And so we use social media, we use search advertising, social and search advertising. This is email marketing, text marketing, loyalty programs, YouTube video ads, television, billboard, online display, advertising, newspaper, magazine. We also have radio, and word of mouth is critical. And then there's also influencer marketing, right? Where how do you get more exposure? Well, you have somebody with 50,000 followers on Instagram, and you would actually pay them or give them some incentive to talk about you and your product or your service. And next thing you know, you've been exposed to 50 to 60,000 people on their channel. And so this is, the awareness part of the customer journey. They're just becoming aware. And so there's different campaigns within Google Ads, right? We have what's called the display network. The display network shows up as you're surfing, and you see, if you're on a news site, you see ads pop up, and oftentimes they're related to your prior searches because cookies are stored on your computer with regards to your visits and where you've been, especially if you use Chrome, which is Google, right? If you use Safari, we're looking at Apple and how they track your online, visits and so forth. And then ads that become available to you are related. And then there's what's thing called remarketing, where if you visited a particular website and they're running ads, their ads continue to show to you as you're surfing along in the internet, and all these different, what we would call the display network of websites, where their ads, Google's ads, run on those display network websites. And so the next thing I want to talk about in the customer journey is findability. And so this is really, a big part of SEO, organic search. This is also pay-per-click marketing, Google Maps, or now we've got, a number of different directory services that are out there, and your listings and how you're listed on, we have Yext Listing Service Pro that we sell that pushes you out to 70 different directory sites, and you manage that. We actually buy it from Yext and resell it through our console. So there's also apps, that are, we have Waze and other different, tools that are out there for navigation. And, now we have this voice search where, electrician near me, or financial advisor near me. And so these terms now are being used within the search algorithm, and obviously with AI as a big component of search now, it's able to interpret your search, and through an algorithm of a number of different search signals can produce pretty high quality links for a search result. And we call that our our SERP. It's SERP, which is a search engine result page. And that's basically your result page when you do a search on Google. And by the way, here's a tip for you, okay? Put this in the back of your head, okay? If you're doing a search with Google, you're working with Google's mapping system, Google's business network mapping profile. So it's called the Google Map profile. And that's where all the businesses for local search show up. But if you use Siri, you actually are using Yelp's directory. And if Yelp has a gap, it goes to Apple. But Yelp and Apple have combined and become a relative partnership over time. And so I don't know if you remember back in the day, Apple used to use Google, and then they tried their own and had so many problems, they went back to Google. And then after that, Yelp became large enough with their local business directory system that they started working with Apple and partnering with Apple. So when you do a Siri search, hey Siri, find me an electrician near me, or find me a financial investor near me, it's using the Yelp directory. So that's important for you then to have a Yelp page. It's free. You just claim it, just have it, make sure it looks good and all of that. They want to obviously sell you services. And by the way, we're also a Yelp authorized agency. We had to get certified for that. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Now, where does Bing find its directory mapping? Believe it or not, it uses Facebook. And so if you use Bing and you do a search, it's actually using Facebook's business profile, and your reputation, your reviews from Facebook show up in that listing. It's so those are the three main searches, and that's how they function. FYI, if you hadn't already been aware of that. And so findability, that's a critical component of the customer journey. Now they're aware, they're looking for businesses within a particular niche, or they need a particular service that they're looking for. Now, the next one that's critical is your reputation. So, obviously online reviews, we ask for them all the time. They're critical to our success, and they're critical to yours. And so within this customer journey now, they're searching around, they found you, and how is your reputation? So online reviews is a huge part of that, but also your authority. Is your authority valid, or is it attractive? In other words, do you have articles and information that is helpful? And do you have a reputation within other, business journals or those kinds of things that causes somebody searching to look at you and see you as, either you know what you're doing or you have authority within your niche. And so I know with Local View, right, we've worked really hard to produce over the years, I think we're probably well over 100 different articles and information pieces within the digital marketing sphere. And so when people are looking at us, they see, we're actively involved in the industry. Well before AI was a huge factor, we were still, helping people to understand how automation and the, Google algorithm, works and all of that for searchability. So, and then, obviously social media. Do you have, a good reputation? Do you have a lot of followers, or do you have an active social page? Now, some folks don't need it. And oftentimes they'll come to us and they'll say, hey, we want to put, a lot of money down on really developing our social media. And I'll ask them, I'll say, first of all, how involved are you in your local community? Well, we're super busy. I mean, okay, well, how involved are you personally on social media? Well, I just don't have time for it. And I was like, well, it's not a bad idea to be involved in social media, but I would put your money more towards investing in advertising, because that's going to have way more bang for your buck. Because, put it this way, back in the day, we started Local View really with an emphasis on social media. Right? Because when you had 800 plus followers like we do on Facebook, and we pushed out a post, half of those people saw that post. That's great free advertising. That's amazing. Well, over time, I'm sure you've learned or have already found out, with 900 followers, unless you have an active page, the impression rate of how many people will see that post that you make is super low. So right now, when we push out a post, maybe 15 people, probably closer to 10 people see that post. And that's because we're not big in Facebook. We're not doing a lot of, campaigns and involved. I'm on the island here. Madison is in Myrtle Beach, and then Nathan's in Virginia, Matthews in Southern California, and Adams in Iowa. And so it's very hard for us to gather, a local emphasis because we just don't have the time. It's just very difficult. And you say, well, aren't you a social media company? Well, yeah, we help others and we coach them, and we've spent a lot of time, but the impression rate, unless you have a very, very active social media profile, it's very challenging. It's extremely challenging. You have to have likes, shares, comments. You have to have an engaging social media. Now, where would social media really help? Well, a hobby, business, the fish company that I mentioned earlier, Jack Watley Discus, they have a huge Facebook, community because they love videos of fish and photos of fish and how to, optimize your setup and your equipment and your heater and your pH meter. And it's just, like an equestrian, company that does, a horse, rides or breeding or, boarding, and photos of horses, and horse people love that. I know with digital marketing, it's just so competitive. When we push out an article, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, there's hundreds of articles on what is digital marketing, what is SEO. It's saturated. Marketers are everywhere. So it's really challenging for us. But within, what you do as a business, you have to weigh the cost of the effort of developing social profiles and whether or not it's going to pay off for you and whether or not you can actually build an online community. Now, another thing to keep in mind, and that is, within findability and your reputation, is that you don't own your Facebook account. It belongs to Facebook. And at one day, just like when their algorithm reduce the impression rate, they can make changes that radically affect your business. And that's important to know. So really, what you don't want to neglect are two key areas within your digital assets. Your website, because that's home for you. That belongs to you. You own it, right? Unless you're breaking the law, you can do whatever you want there with regards to, how you present your material, what types of material you share, all of that. And that's a home base for you. And we would say how many people visit that site and your domain's authority, which I'll talk about as we go. Those things are valuable. They're very valuable. And the next one that I want to let you know of is your email marketing list. Those who have subscribed to information, prior customers, when you're going to send out an email that would encourage folks to visit your website or to even purchase products or service from you, those belong to you. Those are digital assets that you want to build and nurture over time, because when you, for instance, as an electric company, electrician, I'm sure there's certain things periodically during the year that you might want to encourage your former clients or customers and future customers towards, maintenance or checking things, different seasons. Right now we have heavy winds going on, and maybe there's, certain things to take note of or watch for your notifications from the electric company. We just got one in Lynnwood. They're turning off the electricity in Lynnwood they have actually turned it off at 1 o'clock. We got a notice earlier. They gave us a phone call. So, alerting your clients of these things through an email marketing campaign, or even just a blast email, hey, situation, because guess what? If you write about it on your website, they visit your website, they're on your website, and that's a visit, that's traffic. Google monitors that. As a result of more traffic on your website, your ranking goes up. And so these are issues that are valuable for your company. So it's not just online reviews, though. Really, that's probably the most critical, because what happens is they, someone finds your business, and let's say you have a 2.4 star rating on Google or worse on Yelp, they're probably going to look right to somebody next to you, and your efforts in advertising are going to be lost because you have a difficult, or a low ranking. All right, so the next one is the conversion, right? So this is the purchase, this is the sale, this is that moment of, we call it the zero moment of truth, and that is, did you bring them to a place in this journey where they believe you know what you're doing, you have what they need, and you're professional enough that they've trusted you. And so we call this place of trust, if you will. There's three elements of it. Do they know you? Do they like you? And do they trust you? And so know, like, and trust really is that critical place where then you make the sale, when you have a professional presentation and your sales process is efficient and working, right? For instance, let's say I fill out a form on your website and you don't call me back for 3 or 4 days. I don't even get an email back from you after I filled out the form. So this process of making the sale needs to be thought out from beginning to end. You have a lead. What do you do with that lead? And you interact and communicate with that individual. Even if you're super busy, just telling somebody, we're going to get back to you in 24 hours. Thank you very much. That kind of a thing. It's critical. So this conversion process, the sale process is critical. And so, and then finally, this is really a place where most companies forget about, and that is advocacy. You want to take your most successful clients and you want to encourage them to leave you a review online. You want to encourage them to tell other people about you. You want to use their comments about you to help other people to see how you work and how you treat your clients and your customers. And so this whole process of the customer journey is critical. And as mentioned, really there's this threefold area that you want to be focused on. And a lot of times people think, oh, we need to start with awareness. What we need to do is we need to start with awareness. No, you want to start with your conversion process. You want to start with the sales process. What happens when I get a lead? I need to get that efficient and working properly. And then you start to work your way back. I want to make sure my reputation is good. When people do find me, I want them to find a good, solid, reputable company, right? And then, then you start moving back to findability and, hey, how is my search result? Am I showing up when people search within my area? Is my website getting traffic? And then going further back, what can I do to enhance that? The awareness and the general advertising and influence marketing, maybe social if I have a good following there, loyalty, and YouTube video ads and all kinds of different word of mouth and radio. And by the way, let me also just put a pitch. I belong to BNI, the Business Network International, and it's a group of business owners that get together once a week, and we exchange referrals to each other. We help each other. There's tons of training. We help each other present their business in a professional manner, and it's just a great group of people that we get together once a week. And so there's other business networking groups other than BNI. BNI is probably on the organization skill. They're high level, organized, very, there's a requirement to, attend all the meetings and all of that. Whereas then there's others that are less formal, more casual. So these are great areas to get in front of other business owners and expose others or build awareness for your business. All right. So, I mentioned this earlier, but are you marketing for your competition? the critical place when people find you and they start to research you. What kind of reputation are they seeing? If they're seeing a bad reputation, they're probably going to jump right next to the next company in line in the list of the search result page, or in the Google My Business, what we call local path, and they're going to jump ship over to somebody else, especially if you've got some bad comments. Now, just a few comments here on what do you do when you get a bad review. Well, the first you want to do is you don't want to, defend yourself online with a big lengthy, diatribe. You just want to apologize for their experience. Take it offline. Please feel free to call me. Here's my number. I'd like to talk to you about this and make this right. Or however, in your own words. What you don't want to do is, get grumpy on social media, because guess what? It's not for that person. They're probably never going to look at your response. It's for all the people behind that person who left you a grumpy review. It's all the people behind them. They're going to read how you respond when things aren't perfect, because that's what they're really looking for. All right. And so, the fastest and easy way to market to increase your marketing budget is use your competitors, right? And how you do this? By creating a 5-star rated business on the online review sites, right? You got Facebook, you got Yelp, you got Google, you got many others as well. And the trades, you got Angie's List and others as well. And so this takes a lot of work. You should allocate marketing budget here for staff to, make sure your whole process in your email that you use to request reviews is all efficient. And then obviously, monitoring how it went and all of that. And I would just suggest, if you're going to ask somebody for a review, do a face-to-face and tell them, hey, I'm going to send you an email. And then that way it's top of mind, because you and I know I get over 50, 60 emails a day that are pertinent. I get way more than that are not, but 50 to 60 emails a day that are pertinent. I got to somehow, think through, and requests for reviews are difficult. They show up in what's called my non-priority mailbox, and I have to go through them and find them. And I typically don't. Now, when I use somebody's services and they provided a stellar service or product, I typically want to leave them a review, obviously, because I know the importance of it, but I also want to be a blessing to companies. It's like, why not? If you can be a positive person and leave positive comments, even though it wasn't perfect and everything was just stellar, you just, hey, why not? Versus if you've ever looked at some folks who leave a review, because I look at reviewers and how many reviews they've left. And I often want to know, hey, did they leave any good reviews? And sometimes you just have grumpy people, and unfortunately, it's the world we live in. But why not be positive? And why not? Obviously, you don't want to lie. You don't want to do something, false or whatever. But if someone's provided a good service, why not give them a good review? So we've got repeatable strategies in 3 focused areas, right? Your conversion, your sales process. Is that down pat? Do you know what you're going to do with a lead? How many days does it take for you to respond? And, how quickly can you get to them and give them a quote? Maybe even like I know now in the service industry, what we've encouraged our clients to do is, hey, just send that person a Google, Meet link, have them walk around with a phone and give them, a close quotation, and then you can schedule the final or solid quote on what a particular type of service. It's a great way to get a face-to-face, and now you've been in front of the customer or client, and they've gotten to know you. You've built some rapport, and now it's just a matter of the fine details until you get the job or get the service. And so that's a great way, because it's so easy now. People could just pick up their phone, click on the link, and then walk around their house and show you all the details. And it's easy to do. And so Google Workspace can do that. You can do Zoom, a number of other technologies. And so this sales process needs to go really well, and then advocacy and yeah, let us know. And then you put them on your email campaign. And hey, if you've got any friends, we have a finder's fee or whatever during your slow months. And so this advocacy and encouraging them to leave you a review or to tell your friends about your company. And then your reputation obviously is critical, and the findability, as we've mentioned. And so once they find you, do you have a good reputation, and can they find you? And then finally, all the way back, the awareness of your company. And so I put it in this priority level, because what if you're spending a ton of money on awareness and findability, but your reputation is not so good, and really you're letting leads sit around because you're too busy with the work that you've already got. And so you need to really refine your process at the core, which is your sales and advocacy, and work your way back. All right, so how can we help you? Obviously, you go to localview.link, click free consult. If you're an existing client, you're more than welcome to continue to use that. Anytime you want, you can click on that, and when our schedules are open, it will show up in that free consult button, and you can just grab our attention and meet with us face-to-face via Google Meet anytime you like. And so, or you can just meet with me on a one-to-one, and we can discuss, and I can answer any questions that you might have. And I want to open up this time now to all of you, if you have any questions on not only what's been presented or anything else that you might have.
Shoot, I had a question.
Fire away. Now's the question and answer time. All right, David, you've mentioned this local pack thing. What is the local pack? I'm glad you asked. All right. Now that you've asked, I will show you what the local pack is. All right. So if we go to Google and we search for, let's just do digital marketing, Lynnwood, Washington. Now, if I was in Lynnwood and just searched digital marketing, it would assume Lynnwood as my location. And so we have here this businesses, right? And we have a map, and we have the businesses listed here under what we call the local pack. This is the local pack. All right. And so obviously we have local view, digital marketing, woohoo, 52 reviews. Gotta love it. That's us. But then you have this more business button, more businesses button. And you can click that and see a whole list of local businesses. And the map is geographically centered around where the search was initiated. So I'm not competing against, businesses all the way over by Marysville or in downtown Seattle. I'm competing against the geographic location that I've searched from with regards to the people who are doing digital marketing. Now, how does that apply to you? Well, it's just obvious, right? As an electric company, as an electrician, someone says, electrician near me, and they're in Lynnwood, right? At that point, the first thing that Google does is it doesn't list your website. It lists your Google Maps profile. We call this the local pack. And guess what? Google's going to give preference, obviously, to their local pack before websites. And so if you're working super duper duper hard on getting your website found, which is great, and you should, and you're not spending any time on your local Google Maps profile with regards to getting reviews, listing your services, and even pushing out posts to that Google Maps profile, then you're missing a big part of what you should be doing. Okay. What do I mean by posts? Well, if you look here, there's a lot of information on local view, right? When you go look at it, you can click to the website, you can get direction, you can call, you can share it with somebody else. You have a number of different details. There, our reputation, right? and then a description of us. But down here, it says latest updates. These are our articles that we push out on a regular basis. So these are blog articles on our website that we push in what we call posts, just like on Facebook, where you have a post on Facebook. These are posts here to your Google My Business. And by the way, a small plug for our social media marketing software that we sell, and what we call our business app dashboard. The free version, you heard me say it, the free version posts to Facebook and Google My Business for free. If you're interested in that free version, let me know. The paid version does a whole number of other things, including LinkedIn company page, Twitter, Instagram, and soon, actually this month, will be YouTube. And so all Facebook and Google My Business, though, in the trial version, that doesn't end. It's the trial that doesn't end. It's the free trial with no end. So if you're on a budget and you would like to use our social media marketing software, just reach out and let us know. So this is posting to your Google My Business page. And so this is critical. So the next thing down below are the websites that show up, right? And so within this list here, we have a number of digital marketing companies, and here we are, here local view within page one, which is a happy thing. We also have a location here in Oak Harbor. Let's see how we do in Oak Harbor. There we are, 13 reviews. We're at the top of the list, and we're also listed at the Oak Harbor Chamber of Commerce. And we're also listed, hopefully, here we are, who we are here, local view. So this is critically important, but I am encouraging you also to look at your Google My Business page as a primary effort. Now, I mentioned earlier, how does Bing work, right? So let's go to Bing, the search engine, and let's search for local view in Lynnwood. Oh, no, I'm sorry, digital marketing. And as we look through here, what do we see? Local view digital marketing, and it's our Facebook page. We have 43 5-star reviews. Are you counting yet? How many 5-star reviews does this company, Local View, have? I'm sorry, excuse me if I got myself on the back here. We're over 100 already. So, here we go. And then down here, we see all of the various listings. Here's Local View as well. But this is what we would call their local pack, and it uses Facebook. All right. Now let's do Yelp. All right, so we have a number of companies here listed. And again, this is using their own search engine. If I was using Siri, it would be pulling off of this list as well. And as you can see here, there's not only a number of advertisers, but it's quite competitive. And so any questions on the local pack, local SEO and local versus what we would call global or national SEO? All right, so we talked about a number of different channels of marketing. And, as I'm sure you're well aware, as a business owner, as, somebody who's tried to get your organization found, it's a lot of work. I mean, email marketing, setting up email campaigns, fresh content on your website, all of that. And so my advice to you is to, put together what we would call a content calendar, right? and set yourself up some reasonable goals. There's a number of content calendars out there. I wrote a whole article on creating a content calendar. It's on our website. If you're interested, just let us know. You can email Madison at localview.link or David at localview.link. Any questions you might have afterwards, or any resources that we've mentioned or whatever. But setting yourself up a content calendar. And then the other thing too is there's some really good resources out there, Google being one of them, on various searches that people are using. Let me try to demonstrate that as well. All right, so let's say we do electrician near me, or we'll do Lynnwood. We'll do, you guys are Mukilteo, right?
Yeah.
It's okay, Google will figure that out in Washington. All right, so here we have, great job, guys. Great job. Pat on the back right there. 4.9, 70 reviews, stellar. Okay, now here's my point. All right, now I wouldn't probably say this if you guys didn't have such a great reputation, but if I'm looking for an electrician, right? Okay, you guys have got a better reputation than Seatown, and a way better reputation than Electri City. But if I was to compare you, let's say, Seatown wasn't here, and I was looking at these two companies and they were spending a boatload of money on advertising, what am I going to do here? Well, chances are I'm going to choose you guys. Why? Because they've only got 15 reviews and they just broke a four-star rating. Right? I'm going to look at, well, these guys have been in business a while. They got 70 reviews. They got a stellar rating. I'm sure they have one disgruntled person or whatever, that kind of thing. Now, here's where the rubber meets the road, right? So I'm going to click on them. Pay attention here, because I didn't search this ahead of time. Okay. So I jump in here and I read Tyson. Guess what? The owner responded. And not only that, but engaged Tyson in their review. This is critical. This is critical. Because you imagine, it's almost like people thanking you, they visited your house or whatever, and you had a social night over, you had a bunch of people, and as they're walking out the door, they said, "Thank you so much for inviting us. We had such a great time tonight. The food was amazing." And you just turned your back and walked the other way. Yeah, maybe you didn't hear them, but they're feeling kind of low because you didn't say anything. So when people leave you reviews, just like here Good Sense Electric has done, respond to them, thank them, and make sure that people searching your business in the future can see that you are alive, you're well, you're available, approachable. Those are critical components of a good reputation.